Recently, China Health News described Anhui province's birth rate as falling off the cliff. Per Radio Free Asia Media's reporting, China's 29 regions and cities' birth population data shows birth rates at a record low. The birth rate in Anhui, Jiangxi, and Hunan provinces have also fallen to the lowest level in decades. From 2017 to 2021, Anhui's birth population was 980,000, 860,000, 760,000, 640,000, and 530,000 respectively. According to this data, the number of births in Anhui fell by 47.6% in 2021 compared to 2017. In addition, Hunan province's birth rate in 2021 is below 500,000 for the first time in 60 years, while Hunan province's birth rate falls below 800,000 for the first time since 1978. Lu Jiehua, a professor from the sociology department of Peking University, said there is a decline in the number and proportion of women of childbearing age. Secondly, the concept of marriage and childbearing among young people has changed. Last but not least, the cost of raising and educating children increased. Lu Jiehua believes that getting married and having children is not an inevitable option. As Insider reported on May 25th, young adults in China once referred to themselves as the country's last generation. The now banned last generation hashtag shows how angry and disappointed young people are. People have also used it as a way to fire back at China's regime for pushing the population birth rate. The word came from a video that went viral and was later taken down from Weibo, China's version of Twitter. In the video, several officers wearing protective gear can be seen threatening Shanghai residents. They say that if they don't follow the COVID-19 quarantine rules, 3 generations of their family will be impacted. When being warned, the man responded bluntly, "Sorry, we are the last generation. Thanks."
日前，英国媒体报道，美国众议院议长裴洛西计划8月访问台湾。如果真的成行，这将是1997年共和党籍的金瑞气之后第一位访问台湾的美国众议院议长。但这样的消息自然是让中共气得跳脚。
如果美方一意孤行，中方必将采取坚定有力措施。
虽然裴洛西没有对外证实访台行程，但美国国家广播公司新闻网报道，美国众议院外委会共和党首席议员麦考尔27号表示，裴洛西有邀请他与众议院外委会主席米克斯一同前往台湾，公开证实裴洛西确实有访台计划。同一天，民主党籍众议员艾斯霍也向 NBC 证实，裴洛西也向他发出访台邀请。但目前这3位议员当中，麦考尔和艾斯霍都表示无法参加，米克斯的发言人则尚未回复。除此之外，裴洛西身为众议院议长，在美国总统继任顺位上排名第2，仅次于副总统贺锦丽，让他的人身安全备受重视。
If she decides to travel, and if we're asked, we'll provide necessary support. I don't know that it will necessarily increase tension or not. We'll have to wait and see. There's certainly some rhetoric coming out of China that is quite disturbing about that, but we'll have to wait and see. But our job, the military, is if asked, we'll do what's necessary in order to ensure a safe visit.
美国有线电视新闻网报道，几位美国国防官员表示，五角大厦正在制定一项安全计划，以在裴洛西率团访台期间，使用船舰和飞机来保证他的安全。官员表示，如果需要，五角大厦还可以出动上空的移动侦察卫星，以获取有关中共军事行动的情报。报道指出，这项计划由美国印太司令阿基里诺制定，并可能需要国防部长奥斯汀批准，也可能需要向美国总统拜登进行简报。新唐人亚太电视林家伟、张麒麟综合报道。
Last year, the Chinese regime announced an outright ban on tutoring services to support children's physical and mental health from being overloaded with schoolwork, homework, and the pressure to do well. However, the regulation has created an enormous demand for a black market in education. Now, upper-middle-class families are paying double to send their kids to after-school classes. Beijing enforced the decision to crack down on off-campus classes and turned licensed institutions into nonprofit organizations. However, the pressure to perform on state exams, including high school and college entrance exams, forced parents to find a way out for their children's education future. According to Sixth Tone, Mingyu, a 12-year-old child, is busier than ever this summer. Like many other children in Beijing, his holiday schedule is jam-packed with extra academic training. 1 English course, 2 math training programs, a physics camp, lessons at another 3 tutoring places. The only difference is that these classes are illegal this year. Nevertheless, his parents are determined to do whatever it takes to help him compete in the capital's brutally competitive education system. Many other Chinese families are doing the same thing. As a result, many tutoring firms are offering private classes in secret. During the second quarter of 2022, China's Education Ministry investigated 140,000 tutoring organizations nationwide. They found that nearly 3,000 were providing illegal academic tutoring. The ministry also shut down 464 centers that had continued to operate after claiming to have closed their businesses. Wu, a mother of a 7-year-old girl living in the Haidian district in central Beijing, said that before the policy enforcement, she only paid about $3,000 a year for her daughter's English class in a language center. Now she has to pay double that for 3-on-1 private classes. Wu disagrees with how Chinese parents are obsessive about sending their kids to extra classes. She added, "But when the overall atmosphere is like that, I feel pressured to enroll my girl in those tutoring classes. I'm not happy about it, but I have to." It is worth mentioning that China's vast tutoring industry was estimated at $310 billion before the regulation, which led to large-scale layoffs and financial losses. As a result, many education centers providing these services must find a way to keep their businesses running, including using an offshore license with online learning apps. A former teacher at TAL Education said, "We don't know how far we can go. The policy remains in place. The authorities could tighten their supervision anytime, and that could mean the end of such classes. It's still a business filled with uncertainty."
Ovo je povijesni dan za Hrvatsku. Obuzimaju me osjećaji radosti, ponosa i zahvalnosti. Radosti što smo ostvarili projekt koji je uistinu državni, strateški, svehrvatski i nadasve nadstranački. Ovo je projekt generacije, projekt ponosa. Ponosa zbog toga što smo dio generacije koja je ostvarila ovako veliki čin. Isto tako, ovo je projekt koji nas je na fascinantan način povezao sa Kinom.
The real estate crisis in China continues to expand, with a Chinese-American buyer becoming the latest victim of the unfinished projects. According to Apollo News, a Chinese woman named Olivia in Los Angeles, California, bought a property in Shanghai a few years ago, but the entire building has not been completed until now. The woman initially paid 3 million yuan, about $450,000 in cash for the house in advance. She is now unsure when the house will be delivered. Olivia's family bought a 3-bedroom apartment in Chongming District, Shanghai, in February 2018. She said that the purpose of buying the house is to stay when she returns to Shanghai to visit relatives every year. Although she has immigrated to the United States, she wants to have a house in her hometown. The property she bought is located on Changxing Island, Chongming District. It is called Cathay Courtyard, which means big city and small courtyard. The developer, Tahoe Group, is a well-known large-scale company, specializing in residential and commercial real estate in major cities in China. Olivia recalled that when the real estate project was pre-sold, the scene was very lively. Every day, hundreds of people went to see the sample houses, and everyone was rushing to buy the houses. There are nearly 2,000 apartments and villas in Changxing Island's Cathay Courtyard project. Olivia said that because many people lined up to buy houses, the sales office had to use a lottery to choose the buyers. Olivia remembered that she didn't win in the first round of draws. In the second round, she rushed to the sales office before dawn and waited in line, and her number was chosen. The whole family was very excited and felt lucky. The apartment Olivia bought is worth 3 million yuan, almost $446,000, and covers an area of about 100 square meters. Because it is inconvenient to pay in installments in Shanghai, Olivia decided to pay the house entirely in cash. According to the contract, the house would be handed over 2.5 years later. But at the end of February 2020, Olivia's parents in Shanghai received a letter. It read, "Due to the force majeure of the COVID epidemic, the project may be postponed in due course." The letter did not mention when the developer would hand over the house, nor was there any commitment to compensation. Olivia had to console her parents by telling them that COVID's epidemic is really serious, and that the postponement of the project is also a matter of course. She told them not to worry because such a big real estate project cannot have problems. She said she used to think that even if there were unfinished buildings all over China, it would never happen in Shanghai, a top metropolis in the country. But then, news broke out that Tahoe Group suspended its real estate projects across the country, including Tahoe Hangzhou Yard, Tahoe Suzhou Jinzun Mansion, Tahoe Taiyuan Jinzun Mansion, etc. All of these projects experienced delayed delivery or long-term suspension. This made Olivia worry. She said that she is in Los Angeles and can't go back to China because of the country's COVID containment measures, so she can only ask her family in Shanghai to find out about the project. Olivia also joined a buyer's rights protection group on WeChat. There are more than 1,800 buyers in the same situation as hers. She said that most people buy houses with loans. Some sold their original houses to pay for this project, so they rented another house to live in, and now have to pay rent and loans every month. It's a miserable situation. However, there is no indication that construction will resume, and housing delivery is still a long way off.